Man City swap targets, Juve seal Locatelli deal, Chelsea let another striker go. We've got a transfer window wrap from our friends at cryptocurrency trading platform Bybit, all coming up in the next few minutes. As I'm your host, Matt Fronick, you are the One Footballers, and this is the Daily News. First up, Manchester City signing Harry Kane. It sounds like a deal that's been going on forever and is yet to be completed. In fact, the two clubs are yet to open talks because Manchester City have not met the valuation of the player that's been reported in the media of around £150 million. So, last night, it was evident that Manchester City actually have a plan B. That plan B comes in the shape of Fiorentina forward Dusan Vlahovic, who managed 21 goals in Serie A last season and is by all accounts a 6'3" monster and one hell of a striker. Now, they're going to have to pay a fair bit of money to sign him, of course, but with around £80 million the suggested amount, it's clear that that's a hell of a lot cheaper than Harry Kane. Fiorentina will probably be willing to accept it. He'll definitely be willing to accept to move to the Premier League and to the Etihad, so maybe this one could be a slightly easier option if it's clear that the Harry Kane transfer road is leading absolutely nowhere. Yesterday, the Fiorentina president was talking where I think he got the keys to the city, or some sort of city, rather bizarrely, was talking about his Fiorentina players and saying that first off, Milenkovic, the defender, only has 1 year left on his contract, so they'll have to look at how much money they can get for him. But when it comes to Vlahovic, the only way that they're going to be selling him is if a ridiculous bid comes in, and I don't know about you guys, but 80 million plus is a pretty ridiculous bid in today's market. He has had a very, very good season, like I mentioned, bagging in quite a few goals, and the president of Fiorentina did say that it would have to be a ridiculous bid because Fiorentina, like many other clubs, have been hit by the financial crisis during the pandemic and the COVID-19, so they need to look at a monster offer that comes through the door when it comes to many of their players' futures. As for their plan A target, Harry Kane, he has not travelled with the Tottenham squad to Portugal ahead of their first game in the Europa Conference League tonight. Make of that what you will. Apparently he's not fit enough because he only returned to team training on Tuesday, and it looks as though there's going to be a race to see whether or not he will be fit to face Wolves on Sunday as Nuno takes his new team back to his former side. Anyway, moving on, and to yesterday, a deal that was completed after a long drawn-out transfer saga, and that was Manuel Locatelli moving from Sassuolo to Juventus, and somehow Juventus have managed to structure an astonishing deal. With all the add-ons, it's going to cost around 36 million euros, but the initial 2-year loan deal is going to cost them absolutely nothing. After that, there's an obligation to pay 25 million euros, and on top of that, there's loads of bonuses as well, and they finally got their man. He's been brilliant for Sassuolo in the past couple of years after actually leaving AC Milan, and of course, we all knew about he and the Italian side this summer. They were so good, he was so good in midfield, and it was no wonder why not only Juventus and so many other clubs were competing for his signature. But at the end of the day, he had his heart set on a move to Juve. Juve had their heart set on bringing him in, and the deal is finally done ahead of the Serie A season kicking off this weekend. Will he be fit enough? Well, he was granted a long leave after the Euros, so we're not sure whether we're going to see Locatelli in the famous black and white shirt just yet, but probably sooner rather than later. What it means for a few other midfielders at the club is that everyone's future is up in the air. Aaron Ramsey's been linked with a move back to the Premier League pretty much since he joined Juventus, and it looks as though this may push him closer to the exit door. There was also talk about Miralem Pjanic coming back into the club, but now they've signed Locatelli. I'm not sure that was going to happen without them selling someone else first. Next up though, and to Chelsea, who have lost yet another striker in this transfer window. This one is honestly really, really bizarre. I'm looking at the Chelsea squad and trying to think of who they'd have if Romelu Lukaku gets injured or is terrible and is completely out of form. He's the only striker they've got. Yes, they paid a lot of money to bring him in. Yes, he's going to be the number one striker. And yes, I've no doubt he's going to be brilliant to score a lot of goals. But they let Olivier Giroud join AC Milan. Tammy Abraham moved to Roma in the last few days. And now, Michy Batshuayi has left the club and joined Besiktas on loan. Before he left, he signed a new contract. This means that if he has a fantastic season, Chelsea can obviously charge a bit of money should anyone want to buy the 27-year-old, who will then be 28 by next summer, because he won't be leaving on a free. But as for Batshuayi, this is his 5th loan deal since joining Chelsea, and I'm starting to feel sorry for the player. Like, continuously farmed out, hoping that he does well enough so that another team want to come in and pay a fair bit of money for him so Chelsea can recoup some of the fee they paid to Marseille. But he's not actually going to do too well if he's consistently moving around. There's been a loan to Valencia, there was a half a decent one at Dortmund, there's been 2 loans to Crystal Palace, and now he joins the Turkish Super League champions, who of course will be playing in the Champions League next season along with Chelsea. As for how Michy Batshuayi will do, I think he's actually going to have a very, very good year. I hope so anyway. Finally then, we come to our transfer window wrap, brought to you by our friends at cryptocurrency-based US-based trading platform Bybit. And first off, Marcus Llorente has signed a new deal at Atletico Madrid, which will take him all the way up to 2027. Crystal Palace have had a £5 million bid for Watford midfielder Will Hughes rejected. Former Newcastle and Chelsea striker Demba Ba, remember him, the Senegalese forward, has left Swiss side Lugano after just 48 minutes of action, which is rather bizarre. And like we mentioned yesterday, Arsenal are edging ever closer to the permanent signing of Martin Odegaard from Real Madrid. That's all from me for today. Check out everything else we got going on, and I'll see you guys later.